Hello and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. Now we have a 2007 BMW 525i with, I don't know how many miles on it, 165,000 miles, and the customer complaint is he was driving, hearing like a humming noise, and then it essentially stopped, like it just wouldn't drive anymore. So we put it in drive. Can you hear that? Hopefully you can hear that. So if I rev it up, I wonder what could be wrong. Hopefully you can hear me over the noise. You can see the drive shaft is spinning, but the wheels are not. But looky. Oh, look what I can see. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin the wheel by hand and see what happens. Go this way. Click grab. Oh, something happened. Trying. See bits flying out. It's not gonna grab. Try the other wheel. I'm just spinning the wheel by hand. No! I think we have a diff problem. Right, and I know what some people are going to say. I can't believe you did that. You're going to do damage. Look, the damage is already done. If this would have grabbed, all it would have done is spun the wheels. It's not going to do any damage to the gearbox or anything like that. The damage is already done. So I know I'm going to get that in the comments. Well, most people won't know I said it, but if I didn't say it, I just know I would. So the damage has been done. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the diff, obviously. Doesn't particularly seem too bad, but there's a few things kind of in our way, like the exhaust, for example, because this shield has to come down just to make our life easier. But the problem is the exhaust, they're essentially one long exhaust when they come from the factory, and this is still the standard exhaust. It joins here, but as you can see, the bolts are very rusty. It's gonna break. There's two bolts in up there which are really hard to get at, and you can see just how crusty that one is. These exhaust gaskets are going to be damaged as well, but I kind of need to get it off. So what I might do is I might just see if I can like hang it down a little bit, because I've just got a feeling that's going to cause me so many problems to try and get off, because I've just done them before and I just know the hassle of them. We need to get to the drive shaft bolts there, showing the nut the other way, else it would be kind of easier. So I need to get this down and get to the bolts here in the carrier, and then essentially the diff, oh yeah, the drive shafts, the diff then will just fall out, and hopefully we don't drop it, because we don't want to do any damage to it. My guess is the pinion gears have essentially like broken, because you can see the gear at the back, and I turn it, the gears look pretty much, apart from obviously they're destroyed, but they look intact. So my guess is the pinion teeth is gone, but we will see. Sorted. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the exhaust on. I'm going to do a few bits off camera that I'm just going to see if I can kind of get away with first, and then we'll turn the camera on. Right, so what I'm going to do first is just disconnect the exhaust rubber. So we've got one there, there's going to be one there, that's two on the back box. One's connected to the disc, so I'm just going to undo that bolt there, and then we've just got the bar across. That's not actually doing anything. Then I've got my axle stand here, and hopefully it can actually just come down a little bit and rest on the axle stand, and it allows me to get this off, this cover off. And I don't have to disconnect the exhaust. If I do, I can just see a lot of issues. I might have to disconnect this bracket too, but time will tell. Right, hopefully this is now enough. I've got it supported here where the heavy part is, and hopefully once I remove this heat shield it's going to be enough, because sometimes I do say, look, you know, if you can get something out of your way, it'd be easy. Yes, if this exhaust was out of my way, it would be easier, but with this particular exhaust, it's how long it's going to take me to disconnect these. They're going to break. I'm going to have to cut them off, and you can't get a grinder to these ones right up here, so you can barely get my finger in. You have to get like a tungsten bit and grind them away, which takes forever. This is then going to all have to be replaced. These are pushed in to here, so they're not even nuts and bolts. You have to drill them out. The time it's going to take me to do that is going to be a long time, and I would just sooner struggle for an extra half an hour up here than trying to take this exhaust off for the next 3 hours, and then trying to repair it. So swings and roundabouts. What I'm going to do now is take off this cover. It's one big long cover, a load of 8mm. The bracket that actually holds the exhaust in, but didn't hold the exhaust, it was just a support bracket, that was also part of it. So a couple of 8mm all the way around, and this whole thing should come off, and it should be able to see the drive shaft, and we're good to go. Right, I've just got it down, put it to the side. I can't actually get it off because, again, the exhaust is in the way. If I wanted to try and bend the cover in a weird shape, I might be able to get it off, but I'm just going to do too much damage. But I don't really need to, because all I need to do is get to these bolts here. Now, just watch this. So, I mean, the bearing's shot, obviously, but I can just spin that. So nice. And as you can see, the wheel isn't spinning. Oh, it's just locked there. Oh no, it hasn't. Yeah, so just completely and utterly gone. Love it. Right, the really good thing about these drive shafts is they don't actually go inside the diff. So once we undo the ringer bolts, which is 6, it should just be able to, you know, push in enough for me to move this out the way without having to, you know, drop the suspension and make the suspension swing out. So that's really good. If they actually pushed into the diff, then you'd have to be taking off, you know, wishbones and stuff and putting out the wheel, so the wheel would physically be able to, you know, you'd be able to slide it out, because when they slide in, they can slide in quite a lot. But this way is a million times easier for, you know, removing it. So that's going to be really handy. And it's just a case of lining one of them up about there, putting it on, spinning the wheel again, you know, and stuff like that. But I'll show you that once I'm actually ready to do it. Right, this is what I was talking about, getting in the right position. So it's an E12 inverted torque, and as you can see, it doesn't want to fit on here because the angle is wrong, but up here it will fit on. So what you have to do is you have to undo one, turn the wheel to that position again, put this back on, undo that one, turn the wheel to, and then do it all the way around. Because now you might find there's a couple of positions, but as you can see, look, it won't fit on there, won't fit on there. That one's really bad, but it does fit when it's kind of in the that's kind of the 9 o'clock position. So yeah, that's just, I'm going to whip off these on both sides, and then I'll turn the camera back on. Also, don't forget, you've got little spreader brackets here. So you've got 3 spreader brackets to spread the weight to push it on more evenly. And then you've got 6 bolts. Right, so you can see the 6 bolts and the 6 little spreader brackets. So you just want to keep them together. They're not like it's important for one for each side and them have to go in exactly the right holes or anything like that. But it's just always nice to keep them all together so you know which side it came from. Right, I'm going to try and do this one-handed. It's normally not easy to do one-handed, but you can push that back just enough. There is kind of a cup on it. Might have to get a bit of a spreader bar in there, just push that out and cable tie it up here somewhere, just out the way. But like I said, one hand can be a bit awkward, but not for everything. Hey. Right, we'll try it this way, one-handed again. Might not work. No, it's not going to. I need 2 hands. But you can see we're so close now. This will work, believe me. You can just see there, it will. Oh, there we go, it's done it. Oh, there we go. I managed to do it on camera, one-handed. Now, You can just move that out of the way, and it allows great access for the diff. And as you can see, sorted. No fluid will come out, by the way. It shouldn't do anyway, unless you've got an issue. That cup has its own seal and stuff, and you can see it's bolted in through there. So, oh, and actually maybe it's not, maybe it's clipped in the other side, I can't quite see. But anyway, it's had its own seal, so there should be no oil coming out here, and obviously, oh, focus, no oil coming out here either. So there we go. Now to the side, lad, to the side, sorted. Who wants to play hide and seek? Boom! I see you. Hello. What are you doing here? Do you come here often? You spin me around. Oh, look at that. It's like looking at something you shouldn't do. Like that time Marilyn Monroe's skirt blew up. It's naughty. It's naughty. I'm telling you, naughty people. Right, just a really quick tip for everyone out there when you're doing a big job like this. You know, you don't want to put the nuts and bolts on the floor, or you can't screw them back into the place where they go, and you've got something like this. Just a simple cable tie, put it through, you know exactly where it goes. It's not going to come off. It can stay there for a long time, especially when you are maybe taking a 2 or 3 days job, or you're waiting on parts and it's a week later before you put it back together. Something like this can really help. Sorted. This is also really good for, if you're doing a big job and it's taking you 2 or 3 days, or you've stripped a car and it's going to take, a week or so to get the parts, you can very easily forget where things go. And when you do this, it's a lot easier. Sorted. Also, when you're taking these off, don't be tempted to leave these in, think, oh, I just leave them in because then, I know where they go and all that sort of stuff, and I don't have to put them on the floor and blah, blah, blah. What will happen is, as you turn this around, these will bind in and they can rip the boot and make it hard to turn the wheel. So just completely take them out. You can always put them back in later, but just completely take them out for when you're taking it off. It will make your life a lot easier. Right, so 2 drive shafts are off, and we've got to get the prop shaft off next. Now, they also look like E12s as well, inverted torques. Very similar setup to, well, essentially it's exactly the same setup to the drive shaft. 6 bolts, 3 spacers. Let's just see if they are E12s. Ah, yeah, they are. These ones tend to be a little bit easier to get off, in the sense of you don't have to spin them around because you've got equal distance all the way around, but they do tend to be a lot tighter. But they just tend to be easy to get something on. But obviously I can't really get any power tools or anything in here. This is the downside to kind of doing it this way. If this was all off, I could zip them off in a couple of seconds, where now I can't. But believe me taking this off is going to put another 3 or 4 hours on the job, so I don't mind struggling taking off these 6 bolts. Even if it took me an hour to take off them, I'd sooner struggle an hour than to do this. In this particular case, every case is different. I know I'm going to get people say, oh, you shouldn't do this, but it doesn't really matter. You do it the way you can, you do it the way it's going to make your life easier. If them bolts aren't rusty, you can take them off in a few seconds, hell yeah, take the exhaust out. If you like my situation, well then no, don't. It's all about trying to do the job the fastest, bestest way possible, and also to save the customer money. If I had to put another 3 or 4 hours on the job, it's going to cost the customer more money. So if I only had to put 1 hour on rather than say 4 hours on, well, the customer is still coming out a million times better. It means I can get this off quicker and I can do other jobs. So everybody wins in the long run. Right, the problem you're going to have in this particular case is trying to lock your prop shaft, because what we can always do is leave your drive shafts on, put your handbrake on, or press the brakes, whatever the case may be, and this will actually lock the rear wheels. But because we can't do that, not just because we've removed them, because this is broken in here, it just makes life a lot harder. So what I've done is I've got one of these kind of knuckles that are absolutely fantastic. You can see they're like a CV joint almost, so they can put power in any direction. And with that, I can actually get on and just zip these off. Lovely. I tell you, people always say and moan at me for having tools and, oh, you waste money, you do this, but for something like this, it makes your life so much easier. Right, so as you can see, the gun is actually too big and it's hitting the prop shaft, and you can kind of see what sort of angle we're at here right now, and this allows me to do it. So we'll just press the trigger. I'll try and do this one-handed. It's maybe not going to work. There we go. Boom! Sorted. Right, you'll find that kind of quite hard to get off, but you can see just here there's a slit in it, and you get a pry bar just in there, couple of slaps with the hammer. Now this one you can actually hit with the hammer, and then just lever it off. There's one on the far side and she pops right out. Nice. Right, all that's left now is a 21mm nut and bolt. So that's the bolt, or there's the nut, and you just see the bolt goes through there, and then two 18mm bolts, one there and one there. So I'm going to loosen all them, get my, I need another axle stand, get another axle stand underneath there to lower this bad boy down. Right, we've got it all supported. Just remember that this one on the passenger side is a lot longer bolt because the exhaust bracket bolts onto that, so that's why the bolt is longer. So hopefully, because I'm doing all this one-handed, hopefully the diff won't fall. Well, even if it does, let's be honest, we can't really do any more damage. And just get this out, it should be out. Oh, it nearly did fall. It was close to falling. I think it is going to fall. Yeah, it is going to fall. Let me try and get this a bit level before I put it down one-handed, because it will fall. Right, I think I got it level. It is a bit of a dodgy angle, but hey, I mean, seriously, what more damage can we do? Like, seriously. So I'm going to put this down one-handed, and this is mostly going to fall because it's going to hit the exhaust or something. Yep, it's hitting the exhaust. You clear from it now? There we go. Lovely, look at that. Actually, the wheel doesn't really seem damaged. Anyway, we'll open up in another video. The crown wheel actually looks kind of alright. I thought it looked very damaged and scarred, but it doesn't. But that's for another video. Boom! It's out. So we just need to wait for another one to come back in. And oh, someone's already been here before replacing brake lines. These E60s love to eat the brake lines. They don't last that long on them. This is normal for a rear diff, right? Sounds alright. Just can anyone confirm it for me? Is that normal? I think it is. Sorted. Right, we've got the new / second-hand unit, and it's as good as I think it's going to get. It's what the customer's got, so it's what we're going to stick in. Once I get it in, we'll see if it starts. It's just obviously the opposite to taking it out. There's no point me showing you that. But once we get it in, you'll see, and hopefully this works. Right, this is where you have to be careful, because we've got the back bolt in, just kind of rested in, and it looks like these front bolts have lined up, but they actually haven't. They're just spinning. So they're not actually lined up, but it looks like this. So don't be tempted to get a power tool or anything and try and screw that in, because all that's going to happen is you're going to cross thread it and you're going to damage the threads that are actually inside the diff. If you damage the bolts, it's not too bad, just replace them. But you start damaging these threads, you're in a lot more trouble. So make sure you get this completely in line first before, and screw them in by hand before you put any sort of power tools to them, or air tools or anything. Right, now as you can see, we've got it all back together. Now there's a few ways of actually doing this as regards to tighten this. Once you've got all three of them on, so the two drive shafts and the prop shaft, you can get someone to go in the car, press the brake, and you can then tighten one up, get them to release it, spin it round, tighten the other one up, etc, etc. You can put the handbrake on, but the problem putting the handbrake on, you'd have to release the handbrake to turn it around. There's a few different ways of doing it. You can try and wedge the prop shaft, you can try and wedge something in the wheel to stop it from spinning. So you wedge something in the wheel, put it to the right position, tighten it, take it out, put it to the right, etc. There's a few ways of doing it, but you need to make sure they're all tight. And what we're going to have to do after this is check the actual diff level as well to make sure the oil is okay. And then we can actually see what it sounds like. Sorted, or does it move? I don't know. Right, it is all in, it is all done, the wheels spin, everything kind of, one wheel spins one way, the other wheel spins the other way. That's an open diff, it's all good, there's oil in it. Now, let's see if we can put it into drive and see what actually happens. Will it go bang? Will it drive? Will it make noises? Let's find out. Is there any other damage done? It's a possibility. We'll soon find out. Right. Will it start for a start? Yep. Put it in D. What's it sound like? Sounds perfect. Now, be careful when you do this, because when you have a car race, especially a modern car, it can have sensors on. Your ABS light can flash, you know, traction control light can flash. There's loads of different lights that could possibly flash. You could, so just be careful. But you can see that it won't rev up, because you can see, look, the wheels are spinning. It knows there's an issue, so it won't rev up, but it will go into D. It will do what it needs to do without making a lot of noise. So now I'm going to take it for a test drive, and I'll let you know how it happens, or what happens on the test drive. Hopefully it doesn't go bang. Right, we're on a private road, and I just wanted to give it a bit of a test just to make sure it's kind of all right. I took it for a drive already myself, and it's saying the boot's open, but it isn't. It's going through all the gears. It's slow, it isn't fast, but it's doing everything it should do. It's just a shame it's not fast. But anyway, it's working. Sorted. Right, so that's it. It seems to be absolutely fine. We have got an engine light on. I don't know if he's going to want me to look at that. There is a banging noise in it too when it goes over bumps. Again, I don't know if he wants me to look at that. But the diff is now sorted. So look, hope it helps. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Don't forget, links up here, links down below. But most importantly, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one. Sorted.